Oh boy, we have this article from the Washington Post. Voters prefer Harris's agenda to Trump's. They just don't realize it. Take our quiz. So they got this quiz, and I'm going to take it here, recorded for all of you, and I'm going to discuss each issue, why I will give the answer I give, and then we will see whether or not Tim Pool is a Trump supporter or, dare I say, actually a Kamala Harris supporter. What if, my friends, it turns out that I actually agree with Kamala Harris on all of these issues? Well, if that is the case, well, then so be it. Maybe I will have to then vote for Kamala Harris. But let's take a look. The argument being made by the Washington Post is that most voters actually support Kamala Harris's plans. They just don't realize it. I don't care if that's true or false. The reality is that even if people do like Kamala Harris's plan, it doesn't mean that Kamala Harris is going to be a good president. I could come out and tell everybody, ladies and gentlemen, I have a really great play for insert football team at the Super Bowl. I don't even know which team it is. And check it out. You might look at it and be like, actually, that's not a bad play. But Tim, you don't even know the name of the Super Bowl teams. You don't even know what the schedule is, or you don't even know the name of the positions. Well, but I worked with experts and they gave me this plan and you like it, so you should vote for me. No way. Kamala Harris might have plans people like, but so what? She's incapable of doing the job. But let's take a look, my friends. Let's have a good time. The Washington Post says, as presidential candidates, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are neck and neck in the polls. But if the race were solely about their policies, Harris would win handily. That's because voters, whether they know it or not, overwhelmingly prefer the vice president's agenda to the former president's. Really? To see it yourself, rate these 8 policy proposals. When you're done, we'll show you how well you align with each candidate. Heavens me! Could I be a secret Kamala supporter and just not know? Well, let's take a look at these questions and break them down, and I'll give you the answers. Rate your support. Withdrawing federal approval for the abortion pill mifepristone. Interesting. Withdraw federal approval for the abortion pill. I actually lightly agree with that. Now, this is a challenging question. I'm going to say that I somewhat agree with withdrawing federal approval for mifepristone. Mifepristone? I don't even know how to say it properly. I'm not a big fan of over-the-counter or abortion by mail. I think that we should have reasonable limits on abortion. I think that even with these reasonable limits, we are much more lax than, say, Europe. So I'm also going to go ahead and make this assumption. This clearly looks like a Trump proposal. I don't know that it is. It may actually be a Kamala proposal. Maybe she says, no, we shouldn't have abortion pills. I really doubt it. Democrats have been gung-ho on abortion in every regard. Now, the reason why I'm putting a 4 out of 5 is this. 1 is strongly opposed. 2, 3 is not sure. 4 is, and 5 is strongly support. I'm not going to say I'm not sure. I lean towards, I don't like abortifacients. I don't like the idea that it's like you're going to get a pill and go abort in your house. I think when they are handled, they should be handled by medical professionals. They should be very rare. They should be in certain circumstances with restrictions. Next up, we have allowing undocumented spouses of American citizens to stay in the U.S. while their immigration applications are processed. No! 1. And we know that's a Trump proposal. Come on. As if I'm wondering if there's a person who's like, that sounds like Kamala Harris's plan. Allowing undocumented? Okay, what you're saying is someone entered the country illegally, but they're married to someone else, so we're going to let them stay here? Don't enter the country illegally. You're already married. File the paperwork. There are so many good, hardworking immigrants in this country who moved here, have families, and said, I am going to get the paperwork done, do this legally because we have a legal process for a reason. There's a reason we have laws and regulations pertaining to immigration. It's not because we hate migrants. It's because we need to be effective and meaningful for these people. Next question. Establishing a national paid family leave and medical leave program. This actually sounds like a Kamala Harris proposal. This is how these things lie. The issue I have here is, what is a national paid family and medical leave program? I'm kind of unsure. I got to be completely honest. I do like child tax credits, and I'm fairly liberal on many issues. The issue I take with this is I don't know what it means to have paid family and medical leave. I don't know what that means. There's got to be certain restrictions and limitations. I don't want to say I'm not sure, actually. I want to say I'm 50-50 on it. Of course, not sure is the only place that I can actually get to here. I do think there are certain programs we should have, like child tax credits. I know that Kamala and J.D. Vance have both been in favor of some form of that. National paid family leave. I don't know. Honestly, I'm in the middle on this one. I think the issue is here is that it could be abusive for a government program, but I do like the idea that we prioritize family development. So I have to say I'm not sure on this one. Imposing tougher penalties on companies causing environmental damage. You know, here's another big challenge, which I'm going to have to be in the middle of the road on this one, because the question itself, I don't believe is fair. Should we have penalties for companies causing environmental damage? Absolutely. 100%. Does the EPA go way too far in determining what environmental damage is? Yeah. And therein lies the challenge. Hey, I don't want to say I'm a milquetoast fence sitter. I want to say this is a 3. And the reason I give it a 3 is that we want very tough penalties. If you're dumping pollution and garbage into the oceans and the rivers and it's causing death and destruction, that's a problem. I don't trust the government and Democrats to be honest about what these things are. What I likely will end up seeing happen, what you will likely end up seeing happen, is a massive corporation. Let's just call it Fontanso. We'll call it that. Let's say a big corporation has a lobbyist who goes to the government and says, yeah, implement these policies, penalize anybody violating the rules, but make an exception for me. All this serves to do then is hold back the little guy while the big guy gets to trample all over everybody else. I don't know that the government handling it this way would solve the problem. You see, this is the problem with these questions. For people who don't know too much, you might be like, well, we definitely should have this. What does that mean at a government level? It's tough. Creating a national credentialing body to certify teachers who embrace patriotic values. Do you believe that this is in any way other than a Trump proposal? I mean, come on. Credentialing to embrace. I say no to that. And I think outright that may actually be a Kamala Harris proposal. I don't know. I don't think we should have anybody certified. I don't think we should have a Department of Education. I'm not interested in that. I don't like schools. Spending federal funds to increase teachers' pay? No. Banning abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy with certain exceptions? 100%. You see, the funny thing is with this, and this might be a Kamala Harris proposal too. Maybe I am a secret Kamala Harris voter. I think, Donald Trump's proposal, which I know what it is that it should go to the states. So I don't know what this means to ban abortion for 15 weeks of pregnancy with certain exceptions. If Trump's plan is, I don't know, the states should handle it. Is Kamala Harris then nationally stating this should be the case? Well, I got to tell you, that's absolutely not the case, because in blue states, places like where Tim Walz is governor, if they claim it's a Kamala Harris proposal, they're lying. Tim Walz in Minnesota, they signed a bill that it's a bit in the weeds, but if there's a failed or botched abortion, they don't have to save the baby. And that means if the baby is delivered in, and this does happen, but it is rare, but it does happen, they don't have to save the baby. Reducing restrictions on coal mining, I 100% agree. Oh, wow. Look at this. It looks like I am a Trump supporter. Wow. It says you are more aligned with Trump. I am a Trump voter. But let's break this down. Are the ones that I thought were Harris were actually Harris? This one, yeah, obviously, obvious. Look at this. So withdrawing federal approval for mifepristone is obviously a Trump proposal. Okay, but I largely agree because I don't like abortifacients being mailed out, or I think if it's going to happen, a doctor should be taking care of it just for complications. Allowing undocumented spouses to stay, that was clearly Kamala Harris. And no, I don't accept that. Establishing a national paid family and medical leave program for all the reasons explained. I'm in the middle on this one. And I knew it was going to be something like this. If we do a child tax credit and we have some kind of, I think the issue right there is national paid. If we as a country incentivized in some way having families that wasn't through taking money from other people and paying for it, maybe I'd be more likely to be on board. Maybe the answer here is that there should be a law stating that the middle of the road option, the moderate approach, slightly liberal perhaps, could be that companies are required to offer up a certain degree of parental leave to men and women who have children. Imposing tougher penalties on companies causing environmental damage, of course, was going to be a Harris proposal. But I don't think Donald Trump is in favor of companies causing environmental damage. I actually would agree with this if I believed government could do it. That's why I put not sure. Creating a national credentialing body to certify teachers who embrace patriotic values. Trump's proposal. I give that a 1. I don't care if it's Trump or Harris. I don't want certified teachers at all. I don't want a Department of Education. I don't like public schooling. I don't care if it's Trump or Harris. Spending federal funds to increase teachers' pay. That's worse than the other one. Of course, it gets a 1 from me. Banning abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy with certain exceptions. I actually thought they might try to claim that was a Harris proposal. But this is actually where I am. Meaning, I agree with the safe, legal, and rare. I am not a staunch pro-lifer. I don't like the idea of people using abortion as contraception. I believe that it should be restricted. But I also don't like the idea that if a woman is suffering some kind of issue that requires an abortion, meaning the baby could so let's break this down. The baby could survive. The health of the mother is at risk. The doctor has to make a choice. But it's going to require either 2 other doctors to confirm the health of the mother, or they're going to get a court order. That's tough for me, my friends. Disagree with me? You're entitled to it. Reducing restrictions on coal mining is easily a Donald Trump policy, and I completely agree with it. Yeah, I live in West Virginia. I don't think coal mining is nearly as bad as the left claims that it is, and I think coal it's a large component of our electrical grid. It's silly to say that we're going to compromise our economy and energy infrastructure for these policies clearly not being upheld by the people claiming the climate is warming or there's pollution or otherwise. We're not the biggest producer of pollution. It's South and East Asia. It's East and Southeast Asia and South Asia. So I'm not for that. Now, it says this. Your positions are more closely aligned with Trump. You supported 3 of Trump's policies and none of Harris's policies. Well, surprise, surprise. I think it makes sense. You know, I could have been directly aligned with Donald Trump. You can see where most voters lie. They say, look, they actually all support Kamala Harris. Well, they're wrong. Don't care. It doesn't mean people think she'll be a good president. But I think this is actually pretty fair. I am not directly in line with Donald Trump on everything. I just think he's the better option for these clear reasons. And you know what? It says these 8 questions were drawn randomly from a recent YouGov survey, which blind tested voters on more than 100 policy proposals. It expanded a smaller experiment we covered in July when Joe Biden was still on the ticket. Well, let's do this. I don't know if they're going to do the same questions if they say they're random. There we go. Look at this. There's different questions. Let's play again. Let's play again, my friends. Expanding access and affordability of birth control. Strongly oppose. Medications that are given specifically to one sex violate the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Thank you and have a nice day. Okay. Not interested. Okay. I think birth control and the mass medication of this country has been a bad thing. I think women, when prescribed and wanting to go on birth control, should be allowed to do it. But your choice to do these things, and it is your choice, congratulations, women, has no bearing on me and my tax dollars being spent on you. Okay. We're not going to do a tax dollars only for men. We're not going to do a tax dollars only for women. I'm not interested in this. Funding preschool for all 4-year-olds. Nope. No public schools, no funding for schools. Get out. Banning government insurance from covering the cost of gender-affirming surgeries for transgender people. 100%. Do I even need to get into that one? Restoring abortion rights nationally as they were under Roe v. Wade. It's a tough one. I don't know that I agree with restoring them nationally as they were under Roe v. Wade. I do think the Supreme Court has to issue a ruling. I don't know that I agree with the Roe v. Wade ruling, so it's obvious that this is a Kamala Harris proposal, but I'm going to be against it. It doesn't mean I'm for Donald Trump, and this is what I don't like about this. I actually think there needs to be a national answer to the issue of abortion. I disagree with Trump on sending it to the states. That is wrong. The 14th Amendment is clear in that persons, regardless of whether or not you're a citizen, have rights that may not be infringed. The question that must be answered is an unborn baby a person? Yes or no? The 14th Amendment would then prescribe you cannot terminate the life of a baby should it be able to survive otherwise, which would create a certain circumstance akin to Roe v. Wade. But I don't agree with that answer would come out like Roe v. Wade, and I don't believe that is the correct answer, though I do lean more towards, and I did it first, I do lean more towards Roe v. Wade than I do the current states having at it. I reject the idea that one state can say unborn babies are persons with human rights, and another state can say they have no rights at all and can be terminated at any moment. That cannot stand. Funding a wall that extends along the entire U.S.-Mexico border. Come on. Kamala Harris is going to build the wall. I give it a 4. Donald Trump put up select bollard fencing. He said he wanted a big, beautiful wall. They built these trials. They were silly. Border Guard said we need to be able to see on the other side. So if someone's trying to cross over, climb the fence, we know. So what they did was triple layered razor wire bollard fencing. That is the big metal posts you can see through. It's probably the best way to do it. I agree with it, and I agree with it in select areas. I don't know that we need a big wall. Using active duty troops to help with the arrests along the U.S. border, 100%. What are our troops for except for defending our homeland? I don't want them overseas in some foreign country. Giving police officers full protection from personal liability in civil suits. It's a tough one. This is clearly a Trump proposal. I don't know that I agree with it, though. This is qualified immunity that I do not agree with, but I don't completely disagree with. Now, again, I don't want to say I'm not sure because I am sure on what I think needs to be. There needs to be a degree of protection for police officers who are doing their job, and there needs to be the ability of individuals to sue for negligence. It can't just be, well, they got qualified immunity, you can't sue them. No, this guy was waving a gun around or doing something wrong. So it's got to be something where, like, qualified immunity only applies when body camera footage is... Actually, I'll put it this way. Here's how I think it should go. You can sue them at any point. Then there's, in court, the union and the department must prove the police officer was acting within the guidelines of the department, in which case the determination will be made, qualified immunity. However, if it turns out that the officer was acting outside of those confines, and this may be the case with qualified immunity, then you can sue them. And they are personally liable. Personally. So I give it a middle. Providing a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants who came here as children and have not committed a crime. No. Absolutely not. And it's fairly obvious. And then it says you're more aligned with Trump and less aligned with Harris. So still not completely into the quadrant of being aligned with Trump. But once again, a series of questions has me with Donald Trump. You know what? Let's go round 3. We'll probably get some repeats. Providing a $6,000 child tax credit for families with children who are younger than 12 months. 100% I support that. I don't care if it's Kamala. I don't care if it's Trump. 100%. Expanding the startup expense deduction for small businesses to $50,000 from $5,000. Startup expense deduction. I actually think that's a Kamala Harris proposal, but I'm leaning towards a 4 on this one. I think that is probably Kamala Harris. I give it a 4. I like the idea of anything that stops us from paying taxes. Seriously, if the Democrats want to say we're going to give taxes for abortion or otherwise, I don't know that I want to do that. But if they're saying you're a business, you're going to pay less taxes to get a startup going, I like that idea. I want more attempts by more people to start businesses. So I believe that my assumption is this top one, it could be Trump or Kamala, because J.D. Vance and Kamala have both proposed this. I don't care. Maybe it's Kamala, maybe it's not. I completely agree. Expanding startup expense deduction for small business. I believe that was a Kamala Harris proposal. I do agree. We should absolutely do this. Cutting greenhouse gas emissions to half of 2005 levels by... Nope. That's clearly Kamala Harris. Come on. No Republican's going to come out and be like, we want to stop energy production. I don't believe these people. I don't believe them. Okay. Look, I'll put it this way. Do I want to cut down on pollution and carbon emissions? 100%. Do I want to cut our emissions in half by 2030? That's a very specific thing to call for. I don't believe that you can force through government an economic and a market position. The market must be persuaded. I'm not a laissez-faire capitalist. I believe there are persuasive methods that shouldn't be overbearing and should be light to drive us in this direction. It should be largely cultural, but I don't believe the government should just declare we're going to do this. That's insane. People are going to lose jobs, going to destroy lives, and it could weaken this country. Repealing the estate tax and the transfer of assets from a person who has died to their heirs, 100%. It is insane that I will work my fingers to the bone, and if I want to leave for my family and my children my assets, they're going to be like, no. So get rid of that. That's probably a Republican thing. Withdrawing federal abortion approval for the abortion pill mifepristone. I already said that's a 4, and we know that's Trump. Establishing that only the genders recognized by the government are male and female, and they're assigned at birth. And this is strongly support. There are no other genders. There's a really funny meme where someone's talking to a trans person. There's a trans person streaming, and then they have their cat with them. And the person says, is your cat a boy or a girl? And the person's like, it's a girl. And they're like, how do you know? And she's like, because of her parts. And it's like, that's really weird that cats are boys or girls, but humans are not. Yeah, get out of here. We know that's a Trump proposal too. Funding free childcare for low-income families. I lean towards disagreeing with that one. I certainly want to incentivize families and family care and all of this stuff, but I do believe this particular policy results in single-parent homes, which is no good. It's no good. So I disagree. I give it a 2 because I do want to incentivize people to have families and give them tax breaks and help, but I think this particular policy... Ending the automatic granting of citizenship to children born in the U.S. to 100%. 100%. 100%. Look at that. It put me slightly more aligned with Trump and a little bit more aligned with Harris, but still, once again, with Donald Trump. And it says you are more closely aligned with Trump. But I did agree with two of Kamala's proposals. The first one for the child tax credit. But I'm going to counter this because J.D. Vance has advocated for this. See, the issue is this is where they trick you. This is the trick. J.D. Vance wants a $5,000 child tax credit or 150% more than the current. Here's what to know. Oh, but because they said $6,000 instead of $5,000, it's a Kamala Harris proposal. Oh, spare me. I don't care if it's J.D. Vance, Trump, or Harris. I agree with it. But to claim it's a Harris proposal, now you're playing games. I did believe that the expanding startup expense deduction for small businesses was a Harris proposal. That means that if you're starting up a business, and the presumption is, you're starting up a business, you say, I got to spend $50,000. You don't got to pay taxes. You're going to get it. You're going to do taxes. I like that. Of course, these other proposals were for Donald Trump and funding free child care for low-income families. It's kind of obvious what's going to be Kamala Harris and what's going to be Trump. I got to be completely honest. And so if you really want to, you know how to answer the questions. So is what it is. We'll go one more quick one. Giving officers full protection from personal liability in civil suits. I can't remember where I put this one because I think I'm middle of the road on it. Full protection. I think it's 3, right? Did I put 3 last time? I don't know. Whatever. It's good that we do it twice because you can see that, I'm kind of feeling that. Opposing efforts to ban race-related books and content in public schools. Okay, wait. Hold on a minute. Do I strongly support opposing? No. I strongly oppose opposing efforts to ban race-related books and content in public schools. And this because we know what it is. I have the books. They're racist. 1964 Civil Rights Act says no. Imposing tougher penalties on companies causing environmental damage. Yeah, like I said. And knowing this, the government, what did I put last time? 3? Because I want there to be penalties for it, but I don't trust the government to implement it. And I know that the Democrats are going to cut deals with big business. Restricting exports to China of advanced technologies with military applications. Yeah, don't want that to happen. I don't care who's expanding the tax credit for payment of health insurance premiums. Expanding a tax credit. So if this means that you pay less taxes, I'm for it. Pardoning participants of the January 6th. Of course, I'm in favor of that. We're talking about people with misdemeanors who've been in jail for years. Get out of here. Banning abortion after 15 weeks. Of course, we already know this. So there's already some in here we know are Trump policies. Requiring federal agencies to buy only those essential medicines that are produced entirely in the U.S. Yep. And so once again, I'm with Trump. This time, though, I still supported 2 of Harris' proposals. And Harris' proposal, restricting exports to China of advanced technologies with military applications. I think it's silly to say some of these are Harris proposals because we know Trump is for them. But we did go long on this one. And so, we'll wrap it up there. This time, these questions put me a little bit more closer to Harris, but still more aligned with Donald Trump. And I'll tell you the gist of it, my friends. Look at this. Most people are right there in the middle. I'm going to tell you. I am not 100% aligned with Donald Trump. I recognize that Harris has some policy proposals that probably make sense. As you can see, I've agreed with some of them. That being said, Kamala can't implement these things. She's gone to ask experts to ask what we should do, and this is what they gave her. I do not believe that Kamala Harris is going to effectively run this country in any regard, no matter what her plans are. Smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. Follow me on X and Instagram at Twitter. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Sorry about that. And leave us a good review on the podcast platforms. Next segment will be coming up soon, and we'll see y'all then.